Class distinction in the practice of education in British education. For the introduction, education become important part in British. British considered as an oldest educational country in this world. British have an old education history in this world. Like the magazine said, the United Kingdom's educational system emerged as one of the most influential models in the world. Even today, British credentials are awarded at more than 10,000 independent schools globally. Education became one of the interesting part of British. The development of this education is bigger nowadays, especially university as the higher education. There are 4 generations of British university. First is the existence of Oxford or Oxford University that found about in 1167 and Cambridge University that found in 1206. The second is Bristish universities that founded in the 19th century at the time of Industrial Revolution. The third is Plate Glass University that found after the Education Act of 1944, which provide for a widening of opportunity for universities education. The last development of universities in British is new universities, formerly the polytechnics and the College of Higher Education, which were enabled by government to change their status in 1992. The class issue that appear in the study is about class system in British. First, British was one of class-ridden society. Class was a staple part of the British way of life. Today, multiculturalism and a changing economy are gradually eroding the British class system, but some features of the system still remain. There are 3 main class divisions. The first is the upper class, tend to consist of people with inherent wealth and includes some of the oldest family, with many of them being titled aristocrats. The upper class are not only defined by their title, but also by their education and their pastimes, which include the traditional sporting life involving hunting, shooting, and fishing, as well as a great deal of horse riding for both leisure as a competitive pursuit. The second is the middle classes, at the majority of the population of Britain today. They include industrialists, professionals, business people, and shop owners. And the last is the working class. People are mostly agricultural, mine and factory worker or project in Britain. In this video, we'll explain about does class distinction affect the practice of education in British education. Class has a bigger influence on how well educated people are in England than in almost any other developed country. A major study has concluded English adults whose parents went to university have dramatically higher level of literacy and numeracy than those from less privileged backgrounds, it found. The report, published by the Institute of Education, blames decades of inequality between the best school and the worst. Children from working class background are being left behind by the British education system because they are not properly prepared to win places at university. According to one of the most wide-ranging reports ever conducted in the school system, the research led by academics based at Oxford University and London Institute of Education and backed by the Nuffield Foundation charity, suggests move present a barrier to higher education for students from poor background. A distinction needs to be made between the Marxist usage of the term working class and sociological meaning of the term. For Marxists, the working class consists of all those who need to sell their labor power to survive rather than living off the labor power of others. Sociologists such as Weber, indeed government classification of social class, use the term to describe those and their children in lower status occupation with lower earnings. Currently, however, class seems to be less significant. Thus, while Gilbert state that the data certainly confirm that social background is associated with gross inequalities of achievement, At the extreme of the class spectrum and the latter in the book notes the strong association between social class and educational achievement. The example of the education for upper class student. If a young upper class gentleman did go to school, he usually went to either Eton or Westminster. The curriculum at this institution often include classical studies, writing, arithmetic, Euclid, Greek history, pulp, and antiquities. This kind of the curriculum is considered for upper class students. The example of education of middle class student. The extra accomplishment that allow candidates to distinguish themselves tend to be the privilege of more middle class students. If you come from a middle class family, your parents are more likely to be able to afford music lessons or private tuition. If you go to a private or grammar school or a high-performing comprehensive in a middle-class area, that school is more likely to be rich in research and able to provide students with sporting opportunities and other extracurricular activities. Middle-class children are believed to receive more attention and encouragement from their parents from a young age, which then provide them with a foundation for high attainment as they enter primary school. And the last is the example of education for working-class students. At all age groups in the education system, it is apparent that working-class children achieve lower attainment than children from a middle-class background. Children from working-class backgrounds tend to experience economical hardship more so than any other class. A lack of money and the thing that money could buy combined with a lack of skill and the absence of a good attitude contribute to a child's achievement in school. These children are unable to acquire much needed educational items such as a computer with internet access, desks and reference and revision book, which also help to disadvantage them. As the conclusion of the discussion, the class distinction is really affect the British education system. The higher your class in society, the more you will get privilege of the education system and also easier to get job. And so far for the middle and working class in British education system. There are many areas to cover when trying to discover the role of processes in school in producing different education achievement among pupils from different social groups. Therefore, after taking this into account, it is apparent that class is the biggest factor, as it dictates a child's opportunities in the education system and the way that they are educated, whether it be appropriately and to their advantage or not.